Hey guys, Tankmaster here, back with the video. I'm back uploading after the first strike on my channel. We are here reacting to top 30 disturbing moments in kids shows 2018. This video is by Blame It On George. I will leave the link in the description because it's an hour-long video. I don't think you're gonna want to sit here and watch. I don't think I'm gonna sit here and watch an entire hour-long video. I'll probably finish watching it by myself. I'll watch a few of them, but then I'll finish watching it by myself. That's all I can really say. Let's get it.
Version of the Caped Crusader. Of course, and not shying away from more mature and dark, known for being
actually inspired a real-life murder? It's hard to say without any conclusive evidence.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that one. Invader Zim. We're gonna go back to that one.
It's a case of head pigeons and has life. In the episode, them in spades. Our entry from this series is disturbing for two reasons. One taking place in the context of the show, and one in real life. In the episode Dark Harvest, Zim finds that none of his organs resemble that of a human's at all, which causes problems when he gets a case of head pigeons and has to go to the nurse. Realizing that the nurse will discover his alien organs, Zim decides to steal the organs of humans in the school, putting inanimate objects in their place.
Sure, I've already seen this, but this is even darker the second time. So I'm, Oh, I didn't know I could do that. I did not know I could do that. Okay. Let me know if you guys want me to do some challenge videos at all, or scary videos as a matter of fact. Because I'm more than happy to do them.
After stealing the organs of almost every student in school, Zim is now a fat, blobby mess, oozing fluids and intestines, almost bursting at the seams. It's a disgusting and disturbing sight, and it begs the question how Nickelodeon even approved this episode.
Wait.
The subject matter...
They approved the episode? Okay, I must have missed that when I first watched this. That didn't happen.
It's just so far removed from anything Nick has ever dealt with. It's absolutely bizarre. While the episode is dark and disturbing in its own right, things get even darker when we take a look at Scott Dulesky.
Who?
On October 15th, 2005, Dulesky murdered his neighbor, Pamela Vitali. He was a minor at the age of 16 at the time, so he did not qualify for the death penalty and was instead sentenced to life in prison with no chance of parole. During the trial, it became increasingly evident that Dulesky was fascinated with organs and often talked about breaking children's necks and wondering how the human body would function without certain organs. This episode of Invader Zim was brought up during the trial, drawing attention to certain comments he made after watching said episode. However, the two teens that testified stated that he was just joking about those comments. Although, those same teens also stated that he is not violent, and that's clearly false. So, could this episode of Invader Zim have actually inspired a real-life murder? It's hard to say without any conclusive evidence, but it's entirely possible that it didn't help if those ideas were already present in Dulesky's mind.
Whose younger sister and mother had testified on behalf of Dulesky last week told jurors that Dulesky had joked about body parts after watching an episode of Invader Zim cartoon titled Dark Harvest. In that episode, an alien who wishes to be human steals the organs and replaces them with such things as rulers, clocks. In his logic, Gray of an alien said more organs means more human. Huh. Okay. This got dark very quickly. Okay, I had to skip one because it was way too dark for my channel. Like, extremely dark. If you want to go watch it, go watch it. I will leave the link to this original video in the description if you want to go watch it.
The Tapeworm, Mr. Meaty.
Oh. Okay, I'm gonna have to skip this one too. There's gonna be a lot of them I'm gonna have to skip. Like, my god. I might just be scarred for life. And we're not even halfway through the list. I'm already scarred. Just what the flying fuck? Again, if you want to go watch that, I ain't showing that. That's how dark that shit was.
The Doll Factory, Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated.
Am I gonna be able to even am I gonna get freaking copyrighted? Am I gonna get freaking my channel taken down for this? Like, my god, all the dark shit in this. When they say disturbing, they weren't lying.
Despite being named Wrath of the Krampus, this is not a Christmas episode of Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated. Talk about a missed opportunity. What it is, however, is a disturbing romp through an abandoned doll factory, which by cartoon law is required to be unnecessarily terrifying. Shaggy calls it uber creepy, which is an understatement given that the factory is full of ultra-realistic dolls, clashing with the show's simple and cartoony art style. With their hollow eyes and dry red paint blotches resembling blood, the dolls leave a scary but short impression, until their heads start turning and they begin talking, because then they leave a terrifying and lasting impression. It's unclear why or how these dolls spoke, but given the existence of the supernatural in this series as opposed to the original, the dolls could actually be possessed. If there's one thing people don't want going into a Scooby-Doo episode, it's eyeless, rotting baby dolls.
Yeah. Nobody wants that.
The Alien Invasion, Ed, Edd and Eddy.
That doesn't seem...
In one of a few half-hour-long specials of Ed, Edd and Eddy, titled The Eds Are Coming, Jimmy has a nightmare where aliens attack the cul-de-sac, and actually takes a whole area away. Hearing the premise, and knowing the nature of the show, one might assume that the nightmare is very comedic, with the stereotypical little green men aliens invading with ray guns. Instead, however, we are treated with a massive buzzsaw slamming down out of nowhere. A hellish purple vortex rips open the sky, sending down many more of these buzzsaw, with the menacing spiked mechanical tentacles swooping down and capturing a terrified Sarah. Jimmy, now bruised and beaten, desperately attempts to reach Sarah, but falls into one of the newly formed crevices, hanging on for dear life. The two attempt to reach out to one another, screaming each other's names, but it's of course no use. Jimmy's grip weakens, and he falls to his death. While it is another case of, oh, it's just a dream, this nightmare actually
What is up with all these shows and killing people, mass murder, fucking sending somebody to hell, and then just playing it off, it's just a dream. No, that doesn't make it okay.
Traumatizes Jimmy into having PTSD flashbacks to it throughout the episode.
A postcard! I love Take my hand! Jimmy?
This is amplified with Johnny's claims that there are actually aliens at the cul-de-sac, and that they are at Rolf's house. Things get even freakier when they find a glowing green meteorite at the playground, and a hand pops out of it. The hand turns out to be Ed's, who claims that the aliens experimented on him. They tried to sacrifice Naz to the aliens, who in the end turned out to be just Rolf's weird family. So, no harm, no foul. Or is it? At the very end, the aliens from Jimmy's dream are seen carrying the cul-de-sac away. Just who or what is Rolf's family actually?
So more than shit. Oh god.
Teeth for 2. Cat dog.
Okay, this one looks even more dark than the last one. So again, I'm gonna have to pause it, and I will see you guys back here when I can. Yep, again, had to pause it because that was some dark stuff, like very. Let's get back in. Please.
Terror Toad, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Rarely do the monster costumes in Power Rangers ever give off a creepy or disturbing vibe. They're usually unintentionally funny, if anything else. Well, Terror Toad is both funny and disturbingly creepy.
Yeah.
In the 12th episode of the original series, titled Power Ranger Punks, the evil Baboo slips a potion into Kimberly and Billy's drinks, essentially drugging them into becoming pompous douchebags.
Oh.
While these two are out of commission,
Just initially involving them to becoming total douchebags. Not at all what he said. I don't remember the exact word.
Repulsa creates a new monster to finish off the remaining Rangers, the Terror Toad. The unnerving thing about Terror Toad is not only its unsettling design, but also the fact that he eats the Power Rangers and shows their faces on his stomach. The way he devours the Rangers is so disturbing and grotesque. The disgusting use of his teeth and the gagging noises he makes don't do the scene any favors either. After eating both the yellow and black Ranger, the Red Ranger is forced to face the Terror Toad, alone. Thankfully, Alpha and Zordon are able to cure Kimberly and Billy, allowing them to morph back into the Pink and Blue Rangers to assist Red in his fight. Zordon informs them that in order to defeat the Terror Toad, they must cut off his horns and then attack the weak point on his neck.
You're going to pay for this, and I'm going to start with you!
Pink Ranger shoots arrows into his throat, freeing their other Rangers, and in one final attack, they kill him by shooting an arrow in his mouth. The episode ends with them playing an innocent game of volleyball at the rec center. Talk about a tonal shift. Terror Toad never appears again, thankfully, with the exception being in flashbacks. He was also the third monster to never be enlarged by Rita's magic wand.
One of us, Jimmy Neutron.
Oh god. One of us. One of us. Please become one of us.
Season 3 of Jimmy Neutron was where things started to get weird. Not that it wasn't weird before, the movie had a giant alien chicken dragon for fuck's sakes. But the tone of the show for its final season got weird, even by its own standards. One moment in...
Let me know if you want me to do a try not to laugh challenge. Because I'm more than happy to. More than happy to do challenges. Like trying not to laugh, stuff like that. Family Guy, The Simpsons, American Dad, stuff like that. Do let me know.
particular that highlights this tonal change is in the episode One of Us. The episode starts with Sheen telling Jimmy and Carl about a new show that he's been watching called The Happy Show Show. And they all should watch it because it'll make them...
Oh, God, I remember this episode. The Happy Show Show. It'll make you happy.
happy. Jimmy ignores it and goes to do some weird prepubescent stuff on his computer, like Photoshop him and his crush's heads into wedding photos. However, Sheen is relentless and will not stop bothering Jimmy to watch the show. Soon enough, Jimmy starts noticing that everyone is acting different, being uncomfortably friendly with one another.
Libby, did you just turn some music off? Hello, Jimmy. I'm happy to see you. Did you watch the Happy Show last night?
His crush, Betty, convinces him to give it a go.
Oh, of course.
So that night he turns it on and is greeted by a kindly old woman named Grandma Taters.
Oh, God.
He watches 10 seconds of it before turning it off because it's just that bad, and quickly puts it out of his mind. The next day at school, all the kids are desperately trying to get Jimmy to give it another chance. Betty asks him to come over and watch it with him.
Yes.
But as he heads over to her house that night, he sees her watching through the window and realizes that the show is hypnotizing people. Soon, the entire town is after Jimmy, trying to force him to watch the show. Luckily, Cindy, who just returned from a karate competition, has not been affected yet. So the two track down Grandma Taters to put an end to this.
Sorry.
After defeating her, it's revealed that she's an alien, and there's actually multiple Grandma Taters.
We'll be back.
Nope.
The Happy
Please don't.
Show is actually a parody of a real-life Taiwanese children's show called Fruity Pie, which is a bit uncomfortable to watch it.
We'll be back. Please don't. Please never come back. Please stay in your lane. Haul ass and stay in your lane.
itself, but it is ultimately harmless. Nevertheless, it's unnerving to think of such an innocent show brainwashing people like this.
Jesse's nightmare and Michelle's nightmare. Full House.
How could Full House be so bad? I watched that as a kid. And I'm 16. This show was on before I was even born. And I watched it.
If there's one show that definitely doesn't belong anywhere on a disturbing moments
Yeah.
list, it's Full House. The show is a living, breathing Hallmark card that doesn't seem to have
And his name is John Stamos. Everywhere.
a hint of malice or darkness anywhere in it. Well, despite all of that, it's on here for a reason, and those reasons are in the episodes My Left and Right Foot and The 7-Month-Old Itch Part 1. Both of these moments can be quickly explained away since they are dreams and therefore don't actually happen, but that doesn't take away how freaky they are. First up, we have Jesse's nightmare in The 7-Month Itch Part 1. Jesse is annoyed by everyone being in his personal bubble and asking too much of him. Later that night, he has a nightmare where two Michelles enter the room and start demanding that he feeds them and changes their diaper. This was at a time in the series when Michelle didn't talk, so she was dubbed by Dave Collier, putting on an uncomfortable, squeaky voice.
Change me. Feed me. Change me. Feed me. Feed me. Change me. Feed me. Change me. Feed me. Change me. Feed me.
Oh my God, there's two Michelles. They're multiplying!
This isn't dark. This is actually just funny.
The rest of the family then shows up, making annoying and ridiculous requests with a fisheye lens camera focusing on their faces, distorting them and making them look very unsettling.
Help me with my homework.
It's your turn. You're their uncle.
So happy. Change me. Feed me. Change me. Feed me. Change me. Feed me.
This did just get dark.
Our second nightmare comes in My Left and Right Foot, where Michelle starts to get self-conscious about how her feet are growing larger. We're then treated to a nightmare where her feet grow to a ridiculous size on screen, accompanied by a gross stretching noise. The feet continue to grow until they're the size of the entire room. The family is terrified, and the only reasonable thing they can think to do is tickle them. Michelle wakes up screaming, thankful that it was just a dream. She pulls away her covers to see that her feet are still enormous, much to her horror. Thankfully, that was a dream too.
So it was a dream inside of a dream. I hate those. Okay.
The Walrus, Pingu. The Walrus is a very mysterious character, only appearing once in the entire series in the episode Pingu's Dream. Throughout his dream, the Walrus follows Pingu in what he thinks is a playful manner. To Pingu, however, this is very frightening and upsetting, given the size and demeanor of the Walrus. When Pingu meets the Walrus at first, he pops up from the scenery abruptly, snorting with a deep voice. He traps Pingu under an igloo and then stretches and squeezes him for his amusement. Afterwards, he takes Pingu's mattress and starts eating it. Why he eats the mattress is beyond us. After slowly walking away, Pingu then books it and runs, until he slips and falls down an icy slope. He falls and falls until he reaches his bedroom floor. Turns out, the slope was just his bedsheets. Pingu's mother then coddles him as he sobs and tells her all about his terrifying dream and the walrus that stalked him. The walrus is a disturbing character thanks to his mostly silent demeanor. He is either staring uncomfortably with his dead, black eyes, or childishly snorting when he takes his playful jokes too far. He also has strangely realistic human teeth in place of tusks, not helping the situation. The walrus was so uncomfortable for children that the episode was actually placed on an unofficial ban from broadcast distribution. It was removed from British television in 2003 and was pulled from airing in the United States.
I bet.
It also was never released on VHS in the UK. Despite the censorship, it did manage to air once on PBS Kids Sprout in 2006. There was actually an earlier version of this episode that featured the walrus roaring and making disturbing squealing noises. This was changed to laughter because of how frightening the noises were to children. To end this entry off, here's an uncomfortable scene of the walrus speaking German in the creator Ottmar Gutmann's show reel.
Schauen Sie sich mal da haben Sie Modul und Designs und so weiter und so fort. Da habe ich zwar schon mal gesagt, nur die Spezialisten, die wir verstehen Sie.
What the
Zombie Grandpa. Hey Arnold. In the
Okay. Two things. The fuck was that still shot? Two. What the fuck was the fucking walrus saying?
episode Part-Time Friends of Hey Arnold, both Arnold and Gerald decide they need part-time jobs and decide to start working together at Miss Vitello's flower shop. At first, the boys are delighted to be working together, thinking of all the fun they'll have. However, soon Miss Vitello gets injured and leaves Gerald in charge of the store. Arnold finds that Gerald is far better friends than he is boss, and they begin to fight. Arnold quits, and the two vow to never speak to each other again. Later that night, Grandpa Phil tells Arnold about how he and his friend Jimmy Kafka had an argument when they were kids, and led to them never speaking again. The words haunt Arnold all throughout the night, eventually leading to a nightmare. In the nightmare, Arnold and Gerald run
What is up with all these dark children's shows and dark dreams? Like, my God.
into each other on the bus 70 years later. The two still won't talk to each other, but have forgotten why they even started fighting. Suddenly, the distorted voice of Grandpa Phil taunts Arnold from the back of the bus, saying, "What did I tell you, short man?" We see the disgusting, rotting corpse of Grandpa Phil, laughing at Arnold until his jaw falls off.
I tell you, short
What the hell? Why did that need to be there? It certainly does its job by scaring Arnold into forgiving Gerald and helping out with the shop, but why is Zombie Grandpa such a dick? And why is he on the bus? Where?
Why did Grandpa have to be such a dick? Why did Grandpa have to be such a dick?
Where's he going? I guess we'll never know. Frankly, we shouldn't know.
What? Hold up. Come to my room, please. Yes, please. Come to my room tonight. Yes, please. Or satisfy me first. Go to sleep with that tonight, kids.
The Haunted House, Samurai Jack.
Alright.
Music and chatter in the distance, small talk, lapidation.
Alright. boy.
Out of their mouths. It's the horrific tone. We never learn who.
Moments from time to time. Most shows on this list have been aimed at kids around the age of 10.
Yep.
While still children, they are capable of handling scary moments from time to time. But what about a show aimed at preschoolers like Sesame Street? The character Limbo, also often referred to as Nobody, was a Muppet who disappeared almost as abruptly as he was introduced. He is made up of two floating eyes and a mouth over a black background, speaking with a deep and calm voice.
That's 10. Once again, let's count to 10.
In Sesame Street, he appears to teach children about counting. He wasn't initially created to be on that show. Jim Henson originally created Limbo for his surreal short film titled Limbo, The Organized Mind.
Let me show you how it's done, in case you want to try it.
This voice makes me feel like I'm about to be raped. Like, not even kidding. Feels like I'm about to be raped. That's real.
When you first come to the brain, you have to pass through the medulla oblongata.
Thankfully, I'm able to see myself in the camera, so if someone's sneaking up on me... Just making sure.
That's where things like breathing and the heartbeat and the glands are controlled. It's
Okay,
where the character talks about the human subconscious over images of fog and cockroaches. Why he made the switch to Sesame Street is beyond us. Maybe Henson doesn't want his puppets to go to waste. It is pretty cool. I, however, do not think that this is something that 2-year-olds want staring into their souls.
Yeah, make them probably feel like they're about to be raped.
The Mask. Goosebumps.
You motherfucker. Okay. That scared the ever-living fuck out of me, just seeing that. Staring directly into my soul.
I suppose with a series like R.L. Stein's Goosebumps, some scary and disturbing moments come with the territory. However, the...
Okay. That was extremely dark. That is why I'm not showing that one either.
Boris and Linka's drug addiction. Captain Planet.
Are you serious? So now we're dealing with drugs in children's shows. How can this get any worse than the last, 12 of them?
Despite being brought up in previous videos on this channel, it would be criminal to not talk about the episode Mind Pollution from Captain Planet on this list. This episode feels so real compared to many of the other entries on this list due to how it mirrors the fear.
Right. No. Okay. Nice. Dealing with the shady guy behind the alley, behind a strip club. Don't ask me how I know that.
As many of us have about our friend, family members, or anyone that you know that has suffered through an addiction. A villain named Verminous Scum is selling a highly addictive drug called Bliss, and Linka's cousin Boris becomes addicted to it. While Bliss is a made-up drug, it's a simple pill that one takes, making its connection to real-life drugs evident.
Hold up.
Bliss, and Linka's cousin Boris becomes addicted to it. While Bliss is a made-up drug, it's a simple...
That's the drug in Far Cry 5 that, when you're exposed to it, you go cuckoo in the cabeza.
Pill that one takes, making its connection to real-life drugs evident.
nothing can bring you down now.
Boris becomes agitated and arrogant, and eventually slips a pill into Linka's food, causing her to become addicted as well. Eventually, the Planeteers have to fight off a bliss-addicted crowd, desperate to do anything that Scum says for more bliss.
Linka, stop taking that stuff! It's poison!
Oh no, Wheeler. I need bliss.
Without it, you cannot imagine the pain.
Since when did she become Russian?
I need more.
During the chaos, Scum gives Boris a whole bottle of bliss in exchange for killing the Planeteers. He promptly downs half the bottle and overdoses, dying almost immediately.
Bliss killed him. I'm sorry.
No, you are lying. Boris, it's me, Linka. Wake up.
Linka? He's dead.
No. Oh, Wheeler.
While most of the commentary about drug addiction can be a bit on the nose, as is the way with many PSA episodes of older cartoons.
Oh, yeah. So, I'm pretty sure I know what show they're hinting at, but it's not Looney Tunes, but it's close to it. I can't remember the name of it, but they actually had an episode called One Beer. I think if I can find it on YouTube, I'll do a reaction to it. But if I can find it, yeah.
Cartoons, the parallels to real-life drug addiction is rather haunting. Seeing a main character like Linka become pale, with sunken cheeks and baggy eyes is disturbing and upsetting. Bliss seems to be related the closest to meth, given its immediate addictive appeal.
Closest to meth. Yeah, that does make sense.
And giving the user its effect of feeling no pain, at least for a little while. The Bliss users are able to smash windows with their bare fists and feel nothing, similar to the adrenaline rush of meth. I'm sure this episode did the trick and prevented many kids from taking drugs after seeing Boris die.
I bet. Seriously, since when did Linka become Russian? Boris, wake up! I'm not making fun of it. No, not at all. Before you guys start bitching at me in the comments. I'm not making fun of it.
Frybo, Steven transforms into cats, and the Cluster from Steven Universe.
Alright, this is where I'm going to leave the episode at. If you liked it, hit the like button, subscribe, comment down below what other videos you want to see me react to. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked it, again, hit the like button, subscribe, comment down below what you want to see. See you guys in the next video.